Very good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Very good evening, Elizabeth, Kanta, Anita, Vivian, Srina, Sandra, everyone. Pleasure seeing you all once again. Some of you have already seen me. Hello, Srimanti.
Hi.
Hi. Hello, Aftiyal. Hello. Good to see you all.
Thank
once
you.
again. So, of course, few things that we are offering as the refresher is the first thing on the agenda in order to understand what we are doing through the competency development of clinical hypnotherapy for level 3 to level 5 participants. From there, we'll go slowly into understanding of what the quantum chakras, as a workshop on 2nd October that I'm offering. What will it include? If there are questions, what are we going to cover? How will it be different than what you already know about the chakras, or enhancing and working with self and others? Number 2. And then number 3, of course, there is a very profound tool of self-transformation. I'm sure you all have heard of Diagnostics, which is handwriting and signature analysis. Through these modalities, how can we bring about a neuro pathway and a complete transformation and overall into your own side of the story, changing psychosomatic associations and making difference even at the genetic level, how handwriting helps. These are some of the new things that we will talk about today. And after that, if quickly you all have any questions, then we can address these questions as well. Yes, Basam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you hear me now?
Yes, very clear, loud and clear.
Okay. So do you want me to mute or I stay like that?
You can mute, no problem. You can keep it, interactive. I'm fine with it.
Okay,
so can I request everyone to perhaps keep the video a little more interactive? If we can go into it.
Yes.
So we are first. Hello, Pooja. Thank you. Just hello. Thank you for making your video live. Thank you very much. So first we go into the competency development part, core competency, because as I understand, most of you are clinical hypnotherapy level 3 to 5 trained already through Illuminations in Dubai. And what we are going to cover through this core competency training program is the first question to all of you. When we say life is about not just finding about yourself, but it's about creating yourself. And we all have believed very strongly is how we've come into this field of clinical hypnotherapy, healing and therapies through subcognitive work that we do. And how the cognitive and subcognitive is different. So understanding that through the journey that you've already completed with EKA curriculum from level 3 to 5, through this refresher program that we're offering from 21st, I think, to 24th, these 4 days in the evening slot, what are we going to cover? So this is purely sharpening your skills as a professional to give precise diagnostics and apply therapeutic tools that you've learned from EKA. Because whenever we assess the diagnostics well, how you can actually penetrate through the layers of confusion from the self-discovery to self-awareness, from self-awareness to self-realization, and self-realization to self-actualization, that we are the creator of our own life, our own destiny, and walking our own highest path. And it is all entirely in our control. So through this journey of 4 days of refresher, we will go into the in-depth, because I'm not going to take this in the traditional format of, how classically we go with only inductions and refresh the theory and, refresh how to practice and go about completing your cases. But this program. We are exclusively calling it like a core competency development program in clinical hypnotherapy. So this is going to be a very unique approach in these 4 days. On day 1, I'm classically covering all the diagnostic tools all across all the levels that you've learned in ECA, right from corrective therapy to Johari window to the pendulum dowsing, even handwriting, parts of it, introductory bits, how to read some of the key informations just by looking at some of the primary indicators that your clients give, or how to assess these scores. And from there, on day 2, going into the specific approach of how to build your objective. Second, how to customize theory of the mind, how to do expectation building, understanding the objective, because many of us, we do not understand the importance of taking the objective. For example, if let's say there is a person who's going through some challenges in the relationship, and if a client comes and sits with you, the 2 very obvious objectives that a client will set it up with you is that, please help me. I want to stay in the relationship with complete acceptance and heal myself so that I can be compatible to my partner and continue to stay, because there's a child or there is another reason for me to stick to this relationship and I want to do it. So that is one objective that your client may give you. The second perhaps could be is to move out of the relationship and handle the separation trauma or recover the 5 stages of loss and moving on in life. Your therapy approach entirely will differ based on the objective that your client is giving to you, and based on exactly that same objective, how to do effective diagnostic, and then deciding the route for therapy, whether you will do a metaphysical intervention or purely emotional or behavioral intervention, or you will take the client into a different life or a time space. How to heal and recover. What are we recovering? How do we go about it? Because there is very different approach with cognition and subcognition that we do. Cognition meaning what I'm right now talking, how you're giving me a nod, what your conscious mind can understand, rationalize, make sense out of. And of course, once the symptoms are known to you, half of your problems already are solved. Because a lot of times when you go to even a physician, the first thing that a physician will ask you is, what are your symptoms? And based on the symptoms, the physician will decide what course or what drug is he or she going to give you. So exactly the same way is understanding your approach, objective, assessment, because there is a lot that perhaps even the client is not aware of. So the very purpose of building this competency is to also get to the core in terms of understanding the linguistics, understanding the verbals and non-verbals, slightest of the eye movement, calibrating through the breath, calibrating through their gestures, non-verbal communication that is coming, and exactly reading through the layers of their defense. Because when we talk about the cognitive and subcognitive approach, why are we giving therapy interventions is purely to produce these beautiful, helpful, positive, emotional chemicals in our body, which primarily give us a sense of security and completion, which is dopamine, serotonin, endorphin. Looking at all these, oxytocin being the natural painkiller that your body produces, and each one of these chemicals have a very unique place as an association. As your oxytocin gives you a sense of, again, understanding of bonding, pain relief, boosting your self-esteem, being proactive and energetic, feeling loved. All of this is the function of oxytocin that we feel in our body. How the serotonin comes in, or dopamine comes in as bliss hormone, motivation, exhilaration, concentration. How exactly these chemicals and our bodies actually is capable of producing all these entirely on its own. However, the therapy that we give and the linguistics that we use, channeling it completely, that's been my forte. Because when we are saying the ECA curriculum is a non-invasive, drugless, complementary approach, how exactly it is doing and achieving the purpose through purely clinical hypnotherapy as a tool, and everything else that you've learned, putting it in perspective, is what we are going to achieve in these 4 days. Not just discuss therapy steps and your doubts. Perhaps we could also take all your questions about the curriculum so far and also try and give that how does the client matching the expectations versus the experiences when that doesn't happen, and the breakdown, emotional or physical, that starts happening. Because when we say the cognition is just about the 10% of what we see and 90% is what we react. The reactive, impulsive, compulsive part of your clients or yourself, how do we channel or correct those unconscious autonomic response patterns within us? Also understanding this for our clients. Because the cognition, while you are trying to tell them what needs to be done, there are defenses, there are rationalizations, there are doubts that your client will throw at you. How to convince them, how to channel these doubts in order so that they can find their own answers from their own subcognitive. Because I've always very strongly believed, and that has been the basis of my practice in past 15 years, ever since I learned hypnotherapy and resolved my own life, where if the mind knows what the problem is, the mind also knows where the problem started. So our job is, as facilitators, healers, or therapists, is to take the client back and make sense out of exactly what they lost as an emotional resource, reconstruct that part, reconstruct that self-esteem, so that they can integrate all those tools and positive resources within their personality as of today, become more aware of their adult presence rather than driven out of the sub-personality or an inner child within them. Hence, the belief systems, how to change and rescript them, past experiences and memories, traumas, etc. How exactly is our true self, and how can we actually, because your clients will come to you with the effect. No client ever will know the entire root cause. Perhaps they will have a vague idea of this is where it started. The trigger is what they will know. But exactly what the root cause is your job as a therapist, to take the client from the effect to the cause. And that is where the subcognitive work has, most of that specialization that comes through whatever that we've learned in this curriculum. Any questions so far? Yes, Just, I think, wants to ask something. Yes, Just.
That's right, Rajesh. Hi. Just a quick question. So you're talking about the next 4 days from the 21st to the 24th, you're going to hold another curriculum?
Refresher, yes. Not
Okay,
the curriculum. This is a refresher for already those people who've completed a level 3 and a 5, 3 to 5 complete.
Okay, so it wouldn't apply to us because we are starting tomorrow level 4 with you.
Yes, so that already is there. But if you want to, even 1, 2, and 3, because I'm primarily covering level 1, 2, and 3, mainly.
Okay.
So if you want to just join for that, you're most welcome, because the diagnostics and everything, what you've learned is level 2 and 3 any which ways.
That's right, yes.
Only Chakra diagnosis is what comes into 4 and 5. We will vaguely touch upon that as well. Because for that, I'm also doing another program, which is called Quantum Chakras, which is on the 2nd of October, which I will introduce in a while from now. So that also I'm going to talk about.
All right.
As the other day I introduced myself, I specialize also into pain management, psychosomatic work, and disease management. I have a few discoveries through my client. I want to share some of the case studies that I've done, because that's what the experience is all about. I'm sure you have actually seen a whole lot of facilitators who come with different modalities at Illuminations. Each one of them have their own strength. So I work primarily with clients and subcognitive approach with, giving resolutions, not only at an emotional level, but how to even assess some of the clinical disorders when the client is not in the body, when the willpower is missing. Because I think most of the clients who have coping mechanism or willpower will not come to you because they are already set. They have some coping through which they are already living a balanced life, or they are able to do something about it. It's only when the coping or willpower is missing is where they come to take or seek an external help or guidance. How completely with neutral approach, non-judgmental outlook, how can we give that therapeutic intervention to them? Because coping mechanism and defense mechanism is what it is all about. So if we have studied some of these defense mechanisms in level 3, if you remember, Freudian model of the mind, and when we learned sublimation, overcompensation, reaction formation, all these, do you remember the curriculum that we learned?
Yes,
How
yes, yes.
break some of these defenses is also what I'm going to cover in this refresher.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. So when we talk about the glossary, the counseling, how it is different than facilitation, coaching, therapy, teaching, training, mentoring, perhaps as professionals, we land up doing everything for our clients, but when to switch to what, how the push and pull, the combination that works, because a lot of clients who are emo-suggestibles or sexuals, they do not want to be pushed because they want to keep the control with themselves. So how even the concept of suggestibility and sexuality assessments that you do on day one, I'm going to take this entire approach of suggestibility and sexuality the way I've applied. What diseases does a physical sexual manifest through the chaos in life, or what diseases does possibly an emo create within their body, is a very unique way of assessment that we have practiced in my clinic way, back in India. And it has given us the in-depth, complete, I would say, result-oriented approach, which is what I'm here to share with you all. So that you at least know how to give result-oriented sessions to your client. Because each one of you, when you come to any therapist, you want results. You just don't want the answers or knowledge. There is ample. Today you sit and you can have enough knowledge about the whole gamut of relationships and, the internet and through YouTube, all the knowledge that you already have, but how to apply what you've already learned into a very systematic, as we say, standard operating procedure based intervention for specific ailments. So on the day 3, I have those 5 different category of, I'm sure you all must have received the email from Shalom or Illuminations team. Go through the entire 5 days curriculum that I've broken it, the 4 days curriculum, perhaps of this refresher. On day 3, I'm going to take you through different types of clients and what sort of intervention to give. So how to give cord cutting. For whom will you do cord cutting? PAB resolution, or when you are talking about void identification, why are you doing, EFT, and the way you go about onion peel, what exactly and how to apply that in order to recover a particular inner child. All those parts I'm going to specifically give inputs upon. And then finally on the day 4, on 24th, that it's not just about giving therapy and leaving your clients, because the client will also need to apply a whole lot of practice in order to actually experience transformation, as we know, because we know that when the sessions begin, it's unhealed client, unhealed environment. By the time they go through therapy interventions, it's the healed client, but the environment is yet not healed. So here, you will have to empower them with some follow-up techniques like mental bank, you've already learned it, EFT, recorded sessions, cellular memory release command, if it's a physical ailment that you're working with, in terms of self-hypnosis, writing affirmations, something that you can actually change that entire course, because we know by the time it results into healed environment and healed you, this is a very unique journey where you will assist your clients in order to get a complete recovery. And that is where, if you see the graph, the person takes up as the autonomic nervous system becomes your healing path, where it's healed you, the environment is trying to push you down because they are vibrating at a different frequency. You as the client take a different path, which is healed. That is where your flashpoint is, the healed you, the blue dot that you're seeing. However, the environment is still continuing to be the impossible, painful environment, what it is. Sometimes with the client is not able to cope up with, maybe a bad boss, bad mother-in-law, bad relationships, children, and the challenges that you face, anything and everything eventually that now tries to bring you back, pull you down. But how do you not fall back into the same loop, yet take off to a different level of homeostasis, which is new level of consciousness over a period of any questions? Param.
We have lost you for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Param?
Your voice went off for a few seconds, so we couldn't
I'm so
understand
sorry.
what you were saying.
I'll repeat the last part. From where would you like me to repeat the this last slide?
So you were saying that homeostasis, like the people in the family, they would vibrate at a different level. So from then on, we couldn't hear anything. So the person is healed, but he goes back into the family,
so
and
this
they
is
have
exactly. So they try to pull you back. Here is where the resilience, persistence, determination, support, and coaching helps. Also, if you remember in
It stopped. Wait a bit, it happened before.
He's gone.
He's coming back.
I think bad connection, he went.
Yeah, he's in Illumination.
Am I audible again?
Yeah,
Yes, you are.
I'm sorry, I got disconnected. So once again, starting from where I left. So in terms of once again, I'll share the presentation as well so that you all can see. So I was saying in module 2, level 2, there was last part, which is NLP. All those 15 presuppositions that we learned, there was one particular presupposition which said there is a positive intention behind everything that we do. And each person will have a positive intention to hold on to the issue sometimes, what we call the psychological resistance. So if let's say the client wants to hold on to the anger, no matter how hard you try, this anger will not go from your client. Why? Because that anger is what the client is using to sublimate to get the next level of success in their life. Because that adrenaline rush that comes through that anger and aggression is what the client is channeling it to make sense out of their professional side, and also holding on to the anger so that maybe my partner doesn't take me for granted. Hence, I'm using my anger. So the client doesn't let go of the anger completely. So at several instances where your client is psychologically resisting or holding on to an issue, how to break that pattern as well. So in my refresher, I'm going to actually cover some of these very key areas. See, because the curriculum is, very clear. You all have already attended, and I'm sure the mindful part of you would remember everything what you've learned. And it'll, of course, come with practice. So I am going to cover all these concepts and also create this support group for all of you to professionally also make sense and become thoroughly trained individuals to make a career out of this curriculum. You've not just learned the curriculum to apply it for self, but also make a profession out of it. And I'm sure you would want to look forward to it. That is why I'm here, so that that part gives you confidence and you can apply every bit of learning that you've done. That's the idea of this refresher course. It's not just going to be any other refresher course. Let me reiterate once again, where you are just going to learn the technique and discussions and how the practice and this and that. I will go into each and everything. Perhaps even if it takes about half an hour, 1 hour extra, I'm willing to invest that time with all of you, provided you all are willing to learn. Each day, 6 to 10 p.m. from 21st to 24th. That's about the curriculum. So I was saying that healed you should not fall back to the unhealed environment's pressure. Stay in the new gamut of the vibrations as this new reality that you create for yourself, what we call walking your highest path. So each one of us are actually looking to walk our highest path, but we do not know how to get there. So I think subcognitive way is the way where your mind can definitely gather what it is and go about it. And that is where I said that the 21 days to 41 days to 90 days, how to completely transform your personality and help your clients also to get to the next level with the facilitation, what we say, that these thoughts, emotions, energy, and the physical body, what we call the integrated approach, what we call integrated happiness, and resolving all these issues that are right in front of you, how to eliminate it with a very step-by-step approach.
Oh my God.
Yes,
I have
sir.
a question.
Any question? Yes, Eptial.
So I'm totally like, I understand like everything. I'm having a problem though. It's not a problem, but it's like, I think it's like more like a state of mind. Like, we're studying all of this and I truly believe in them. But I still have a problem. And I think that maybe not just me, of taking it as a therapist or to be a therapist, not applying it to me personally. For example, we just studied the family dysfunctions, the inner child, the stuff.
Right.
And during the class, and even now when I'm studying, reading, I'm like, did I have that? Didn't I? And I'm just wondering, does it happen by time, or is there something to do about it? To just be more objective. I did other kind of modalities, not like hypnotherapy, but I did reconnective healing, and I did theta healing and other stuff to others, and I was totally objective. But I don't know why when I'm studying this, I'm in between being a therapist with objectivity and being the client, or does it apply? Yeah.
So something, correct me if I've understood your question and concern correctly, Iptial, where if you've not experienced it, how can you help your clients without experiencing it? Though you've learned it, you of course are effectively applying it, but you are kind of in between from experiencing to applying it, and how completely what you've learned you can experience and also give it to your clients. Have I understood the context correctly, Tia?
Yes.
Sure. So answering this particular concern, where while we are learning as students, we are also too subjective, because everything that is coming from the facilitator or from the slides or from the course, we first want to apply to ourselves. So we are too much into the process of making sense. See, why are we learning these courses? Let's first understand that. Not only to make it a career, but we are actually looking for some answers. These answers is why we are going from one course to the other. It's not just we are fond of collecting certificates. That's not at all the objective. We are trying to make sense out of our own life first. Which means what? A whole lot of unknown about our life and people around us who we are seeing in pain. We want to heal our journey as well as help them out. Our children, our spouses, our friends, our relatives, our society people, whosoever. So a whole lot of unknown is what we are trying to make it known. When you go to a tarot reader, why are you going to a tarot reader? Is so that through the fortune cards, the past, present, and future spread that we do, and indicated guidance that what could happen in future and what caution should I take, so that I can walk my highest path again. So it's the unknown to the known that settles my anxiety. We are all actually gathering all this knowledge to nothing else but settle our anxiety. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that we go with completely zero somatic charge and with complete faith into our future that, okay, we've discovered some parts of it, but without understanding that we are at the peak of that self-actualization, where we are the creators of our own life, is where we are forgetting it, that power is within us. So to tap into this, to experience and then to apply it, is where the competency building happens. So when you now repeat the refresher with someone who's entirely different, who doesn't know your story, and yet the same guidance come, maybe it's a discovery and a wow or a aha moment for you, that someone who did not know about my past completely took me through the journey non-judgmentally, and we could find a new perspective, which is now a bird's eye view. So from being subjective to the objective. So what is the subjective and objective parts into therapy? Receiving and giving and applying what you've learned is what also, the root cause to the confidence that you will gain beyond these levels. Otherwise, I know a lot of people who invested, and then because it did not make sense or it did not give them the answers that they were looking for, they actually scrapped the entire approach and they never used it ever again. And I don't want any one of you to fall into that category. I want each one of you perhaps to understand, apply, and grow with this science, because your clients will endlessly heal you with every session that you will do it. But your intent to give your best, because I don't know, I always, what inspired me, I've read a book called The Fakir. I don't know if you've heard about this book. These are the assorted aggregate channelings from different prophets and ascended masters, written by Rusbe Barucha, in which there is one of the masters who very interestingly said, the quote was very, very profound. So I'm quoting what the master has said. You are neither the music as a therapist or a facilitator. You are neither the music nor the musician. Your job as a therapist or an instrument is to tune your own strings so that when he strikes you, the right note may come out. So as a therapist who's healed, it is our moral responsibility to be completely tuned into our own chakras, so that we do not land up interfering our judgments with your client, because your client will only then confide within each one of you to sit with you and share the deepest and the darkest of their truths and secrets. It's only when you become that non-judgmental medium is when this will effortlessly happen, from, again, dropping the doing to going into the being.
Yeah.
That is where it will happen. You will not have to decide what you need to do. The universe will simply flow through you, and it will simply happen as the magic.
Thank you.
Thank you, Athiya. I hope I've answered your question satisfactorily. Of
My
what you were
heart is
looking.
it did, it did.
So when these psychosomatic issues come, like constipation, this is one of the commonest stress disorders. IBS, acidity, hypertension, heaviness in the chest, headaches, all sort of stress disorders. When we talk about these, can completely be resolved purely with subcognitive work. Is where we try to work around with all these emotional issues and how to give therapeutic interventions by changing purely the facilitation part, which is your beliefs, and gaining the resources. Now coming to the part 2. Are we good with the refresher part? Then I will move into the quantum chakras, of what I'm going to cover in quantum chakras. Iglena, any questions? Because I very, maybe in a very lighter mode when I say that when we don't have questions, either we've understood everything or we've not got anything. And these are the two situations where we don't have questions, but I'm sure, being the Eka students, we all know the subcognition better than anybody else. And hence, this is an exclusive Eka participants batch that we are creating.
Okay,
Yes,
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so I
please.
was wondering, like, can we help someone who's like having dementia?
Okay, so dementia is a clinical disorder. Again, it's one of the symptoms that people show, but dementia has a deep-rooted reason. I may not be able to give a very loose remark about dementia because there is a specific history that you see. Because it's a delusionally state that one goes into where the current reality and the personality swing happens between one part of you thinking in a certain way and the other part that thinks in a certain way. And when you are at a certain age where you do not know what the other part, or, you know, a kind of, when you forget, the conscious part does not have the recall of what you wanted to do previously. And that is where the disassociation happens. So your bodies are already moving out. Some of these areas I'm going to be covering in level 4, starting from tomorrow. That it's complete metaphysics when we talk about dementia.
So
and
we
you will
can
know
help
it from
them a little
level
bit.
4. It can be addressed using hypnotherapy, but in dementia, you need to bring the person back to the body. The person has got dissociated. So there are more chakra related or crystal related or chakra exercises that you will learn in level 5 is where you heal that, because the person needs to come back to the body. That's where it can be healed.
And even when
same
they
for schizophrenia, as we say.
or paranoia.
Paranoia, again, is a triggered response to a certain situation, which comes from either a past life or a current life trigger. In level 4, we will cover part of the paranoia and part of panic attacks.
That's amazing.
We will address in the metaphysical work. This is all what you're saying has the root cause and origin into metaphysics. Yes, Dr. Basam.
A question. I want to share this with you. Bacteria in the stomach. Why would it come? What is the metaphysical background of it?
What? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Bacteria in the stomach.
Bacteria.
In the stomach. Why would the bacteria come to the stomach?
It is the anxiety and the low gut health because of an immunity that is going down. When we say the mind is a ball of energy with the center in the pit of your stomach, exactly when your mind is terribly anxious and does not have enough prana, enough potency in order to produce a certain, what we call the right immunity factors within you, because the emotion, when we say, because again, I study quantum understanding of every physical or metaphysical concept that we've learned. When we say there are two kind of energy that we studied in our school, one is the potential energy and the other one is a kinetic energy, isn't it? Your thoughts is potential energy. That potential, when it starts flowing through your meridians, it becomes emotion, it becomes kinetic energy. So when that energy is not flowing well, in level 2, you learned EFT and you saw the video by Gary Craig. And when you tap these meridians with not suppressing the symptom of what you're going through, but using the law of similars, you enhance it, and then your mind or mental faculties or body vitality takes over in order to heal a particular disorder. I have treated a complete vasculitis, which is intestinal colitis and vasculitis case because of this ill gut health, and there were no good bacteria in the gut. Within about I will be sharing some of these cases when I do it. Within 4 months, that lady has completely healed purely. All the steroids were stopped. All the naturopathy was stopped. Everything that she had turned vegan, thinking that everything that she is eating is causing all the discomfort, whereas the root cause was coming from somewhere else. She had tried almost everything, but she did not recover. But with hypnotherapy, I completely changed that association, and now she's back to about 9 months of bed rest and 3 years of suffering. She's completely moving around because she had lesions on her hand and on the soles of both her feet because of this ill gut health and no good bacteria in her gut. And we worked with it completely because there is enough acid that you produce because of your issues that are not resolved, that give you anxiety, the fear of the unknown. And when you keep playing, that is where the gut suffers very badly.
Okay, I have what I think. I mean, what you said is completely correct. I would add to it, if you like to, if if you like me to share my idea.
Please share. Yes, Basam.
When the illness is coming in the stomach, this means the stomach, the metaphysical reasons for that, I would figure it out that it has to come from a direct family issue, direct family house issues. So when the subconscious mind is giving the order for the bacteria to come to fight something in the stomach, this would be the resonation of something internally in the family, the small surrounding of the individual, which is keeping him afraid, the fear of that, which brings this bacteria to the stomach. How would you think about this interpretation?
No, so for the moment you're saying fear of the unknown exactly is what gives the anxiety. So we both are in complete alignment with what you are saying and what I'm saying, and eventually we are karmically choosing the family members to go through a certain learning. So definitely the family will have an impact to create that fear.
In that specific place, in the stomach.
Yes, in that specific place, in the stomach.
Digestion.
Thank you for sharing this.
Thank you.
Thank you. So are we clear so far? So now we move into the chakras. Yes. Yes, Elizabeth.
Since we're talking about the stomach, I am suffering from bloating. So how is it related to? Is it related to psychological, or I don't know? Completely psychological. There is nothing in your body that is not happening psychologically. Your body does not have a pain or discomfort without a reason. Please understand that. Either it is coming from the family patterns or genetic interpretations coming again through the stimulus that is running in the family, or subcognition, which is your own subcognitive mind, subconscious mind. It will have a trigger. How and when it got triggered is what only your subconscious mind knows, number one. Number two, it's again related to the gut, so mind is stressed. There is some element within your environment, if you're not able to control it, that is where the chakras is what I'm going to talk about. So the quantum chakras is about, most of us, we feel that chakras are metaphysical concept and they are not validated by science. Perhaps I have kind of gone into an understanding of even the colors. The 7 colors are not coming from some metaphysical understanding. There is physics, which is hardcore, what we call the Bohr's atomic model. And that atomic model and the behavior of electrons, which is from the base of the spine to the crown, how the color changes based on the frequency and the color of consciousness that we live out through our karmic patterns of. Hence, I call it the quantum chakras, going into every gland, why that gland is malfunctioning. When a certain gland malfunctions, what happens? How to perhaps even look at certain parts and symptoms, what your client is describing. Each symptom will have a certain understanding. So we'll go into the understanding of these symptoms on the 2nd October. And why these symptoms come up. So what is the metaphysical reason behind each chakra and it leading to a certain disease from the lower back, like a slip disc, L4, L5 issues, or what you call it, the iliosacral pain, which happens. Some things which come into gut health and stuff like that. Cervical spondylitis, we'll talk about thyroid, we'll talk about the pineal pituitary imbalances through the hypothalamus and how the body responds to certain neurohormones. I'm going to talk about all these things, which is the basis from my guru, as I follow him very closely, being a biotechnologist myself. I come from a biotechnology background where I've applied every bit of the epigenetics, what Dr. Bruce Lipton follows, as rightly said by Dr. Bazam as well, that all the information of all the diseases is there in our genes. It's how we interact with our environment, and we interact with our environment through our chakras. The double funnel and single funnel interactions that keep happening. How do we receive and give vibrations is what will create a certain disease in our body.
So we'll go through all these 7 chakras and certain diseases in these 6 hours on that day, and also try to work with few demonstrations with EFT or crystals. I will talk about few crystal remedies and grids, and how even some of you also experience sound healing, because there are, I think, sound healers who come. What are we doing and how can we? So everything will fall in perspective when we talk about the quantum chakras.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So here is where what we will discuss during quantum chakra experience on 2nd October is mainly disease management, pain management, weight also we will touch, interpersonal compatibility through the receiving and giving of vibrations that we just spoke about, and psychosomatic release from the past, painful cellular memories, again through the interface of chakras. Endocrine imbalance, biology and genetics of association of chakras, why chakras have colors, how do we know, various diseases associated around the chakra imbalances, how to correct them with certain chants and crystals, healing therapy approach, and chakra healing to crystal, elixirs, grids, etc. We will talk about it in the quantum chakra part. And of course, the rocker of all, where the most underestimated technique of all, which perhaps not many of us have really applied it or seen or visited, consulted someone, but graphology or your handwriting. Brain governs every muscle and every muscle movement in your body. So the extensor movement and flexor movement, how you write your straight lines, angles, curves, and loops, these have a significant interpretation that reflects the way you think. That's why I've written it down, that the way the ink flows, from the flow of ink, it actually can tell a lot how you think. And we are going to learn this as a diagnostic tool. And through this diagnostic tool, how to completely rewire, because we've heard about neuroplasticity, and we are all gifted with this auto-regenerative process of the brain cells and realignment of what it is. Handwriting, like how EEG, or that needle which moves on the paper where the doctor keeps those diagnostic electrodes in your body, either on the heart or on the brain, and then they see the movement. Just by looking at that movement, the doctor comes to know how is your brain health or heart health is doing. By looking at this extensor flexor movement, how much of blood is being supplied to which part and which organ of your body also can be seen through the patterns of handwriting. And changing your handwriting can completely revive that brain or neurological rewiring of a certain behavior. When we say triggers, so handwriting is the idiomotor response. We can use it to correct an entire person's personality from start to end. And you can see a very new you within a span of 6 months completely. And this I will be talking about again in alignment with the chakras, because each letter that you write through the upper zone, middle zone, and lower zone has chakra associations even there. So how to correct some of these patterns, how to correct your ancestral patterns, how to correct your parental impressions that you have unpleasant associations coming from the past, that can entirely be changed. So all those parts we are going to learn through graphodiagnostics and graphology, the way I teach it, parental programs, childhood traumas, rewriting or rewiring, the new emotional profile, detecting lies, sexuality issues in a relationship, deception, strokes, whether to trust a person before even getting into a business deal or not, looking at the handwriting, can I trust this person? How much deception or self-deception, how much in the body or out of the body, the person can completely know from the handwriting. So that will be an additional 1 day, about 6 hours, another workshop that we might announce with Illuminations. Please let us know if you're interested. Then based on the response, we can declare the dates. Since I'm here until the 4th of October is where I'm going back. So maybe one of the weekends there on 3rd October, we could look at which is a Saturday, of announcing the handwriting diagnostic workshop as well. Now questions before we end this session. I think I've shared everything what I wanted to.
I just have a question. I joined in pretty late, so could you please tell me when the workshops are and how I can register for these workshops?
As Nivedya, if you could tell me how many levels have you attended of EKA?
So I've done level 5.
Oh, wonderful. So there is first, I think that is announced is a level 1 to 5 refresher, primarily 1 to 3 module refresher, which is open for level 3 to level 5 participants in 4 days from 21st to 24th, every evening 6 to 10, little extended maybe. So these parts that we are going to do, as the first day we will be doing diagnostic, second day expectation building and customizing theory of the mind and therapeutic approach planning, designing. Day 3, we are going into specific client types and how to give therapies and revisiting the scripts and SOPs. And on the day 4, the importance of follow-up and how to do the corrections over a period of time and how to facilitate and coach a client over a period of time. So that's the module 1 to 3 refresher. Then we'll be going into the quantum chakra part, which is on 2nd October. I am going to do something very unique, which I'm going to take you all through, which is called karma constellations, which I'll introduce you to it tomorrow. But these are as and when appointment-based one-on-one sessions, which I do on table karma constellations with crystals and higher self interventions for therapeutic resolution, where if you want to understand a certain guidance of making a choice, closing a relationship, understanding where to and how to download that guidance from the higher self, this I'll take you all through tomorrow over a webinar, again, the same time after the class. And finally, on the graphology, as I said, graphodiagnostics, that would be on 3rd October that we will announce. So Nivedya, that is what I think as of now I'm offering while I'm here. The team Illuminations can also guide you when these dates will be, and I think these ads will float very soon to you. I'm sure the team Illuminations have made note of it.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir. Can I ask a question?
Yes, Nurjan.
Yes, about quantum. Like while doing quantum chakras, would you explain what is quantum?
Yes, of course.
Like
see, quantum which is related to the physics, the scientific parts of chakra, and the disease physics. And the body, little bit of all that understanding, which is a very different take, vibrational and molecular understanding somewhere of how it affects the endocrine glands in the body. When a certain chakra malfunctions, what sort of diseases your body can possibly create, and which chakra is weak, why that chakra is weak, how to recover, what patterns, and where this is coming from. So we will talk about all those aspects in quantum chakras.
Yeah, quantum healing will be included as well. When you're
quantum
talking
healing
about
is, I think you are mixing this with the quantum healing as a process. See, in 4 hours, I cannot cover as much, or 6 hours, I cannot cover the healing techniques as well. But yes, the healing modalities, since level 5 students already know, the recovery pattern and therapy will be done through clinical hypnotherapy. And I will be guiding purely to work with chakras and the diseases. Recovering will happen through the clinical hypnotherapy as a modality, not any other therapeutic technique as such.
Okay, so are you in? Yeah, are you also teaching in quantum sometimes, like some other time?
I will be talking about crystals, elixirs, and grids.
Okay, okay.
Purely like, vibrational again.
Yeah, maybe some other time you'll teach us about quantum as well.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, so I'm inshallah very much interested in quantum chakras, and maybe also handwriting. I will
let, I think,
yeah, Shalom. Yeah, I will. I'll get in touch with
Illuminations know.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you so
get
much.
in touch. Thank you so much. Great. It was a great program. Thank you very much.
So much. It was really pleasure meeting all of you. And I'm sure we're all excited for those who are seeing me tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. for level 4.
Yes,
So
we
looking
are
forward to
excited,
seeing
Rajesh.
you all over these 6 days of exciting journey of level 4. Thank you so much, Kanta and Param, Shimanti, Iptial, everyone. Sarah, are you also there tomorrow? Level 4? Sarah, are you going to be there for level 4 tomorrow?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there. Yes.
I'll be there. Yes.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
That's okay.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you, everyone. Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
For your
you so
time.
much.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Dr. Basam. Take care.